Hello everyone, Conor here. Just as a small disclaimer, some things we may talk about on the pod shouldn't be attempted or recreated. Remember to keep everything legal, keep it between the hedges, and don't tear up the ground while you're on the pull. Hello everyone, what's the crack? You're listening to the Agri Automotive Podcast brought to you by Limit with Slight Differences, where we chat all things cars to cows. I am Conor and...
I am Michael.
That's good, at least you know your name.
And we actually have a guest with us this week as well, because we did promise more guests.
Yes.
So we've got Stephen Halferty in the podcast this week.
Yes, at least we're not having the awkward silence where we had before.
No, we just haven't given him a chance to speak yet.
We tried to introduce somebody before and put it this way. We looked at them and they're like, am I supposed to speak now? We're like, yes, you're supposed to speak now.
So am I supposed to speak now?
He caught the drift.
I'm going to pull us a wee bit further forward to me. I am back being dosed again, so if I start sounding like Darth Vader like I did in podcast 25, the one where we were both stupidly sick, because I kept like breathing into the microphone and it was like... So you hear that again, well, fuck it, I can't help it.
Well, you did very loud there. So we are in episode 28.
Aye.
Yes.
Didn't check that just before we started the podcast.
But yes.
Stephen's still barely spoken.
Yes.
I'm quiet, like I wouldn't talk. It's not like me to talk.
No, Jesus, no. It's hard enough getting the word out of you before we even started this.
We've been here 3 years and this is the start of it.
So yes, we've Stephen Halferty.
How's it going?
He's decent at driving, so we're here.
Does the odd skid now and again.
He does.
Does the odd skid.
Oh well. Has to be done.
It does indeed. Well anyway, we'll start in a new with you, Michael.
Yes. Both breakdowns.
Why, what happened this time?
My Fiat.
Oh, aye, that's right.
It's a
yes.
Fiat delivery service.
Was that? I written off.
That was a couple of Mondays ago.
Was
it last week?
No, it was the week before, because so basically I arrived here on a Sunday to record and get in through the shed door.
That's right.
Michael said my mode of transportation for my Fiat is also getting fixed. I was like, right, where's that going? Can I use your tractor? I was like, right, we'll have a phone call. Aye, sure, you'll be the one driving it, son. Aye. So basically...
You were the one driving it.
I had to. I was told I had to. I'm not going to doubt his driving skills, but I was just told to. So yes, I
doubt my driving skills too, don't worry.
Yeah, well, an auto command I definitely do. So an auto command, Stephen, is basically an automatic gearbox for a tractor, so there's no need for using a clutch. Michael was popping the clutch going, why is this thing not moving?
I couldn't drive it. Despite the fact that I drive, my bore is automatic.
No.
I swear to God.
No.
Best daily ever.
The confusion in this man's face.
Like, my bore is automatic. That Lexus is automatic.
That's it.
It's only automatic for us. I have a gearbox and all sitting off that Lexus. It's just on the manual, like the actual bell housing.
Yes.
Because anytime I think about doing anything to any other car, the Sierra breaks.
Yes.
And then I have to spend the money on it again instead.
So the Sierra is the problem. So the Sierra is the root of all problems.
It's basically the root of this podcast, isn't it?
Used to be the Sierra updates, and then it turned into Michael's life problems.
And then recently I bought a Mapro telehandler loader, and it's become the new problem child.
Oh.
Yes.
You know what's bad whenever he describes it as perfect, and then it rises and it breaks down.
Good enough.
It's just what happens when you live your life buying scrap.
But
anyway,
so on the Sunday night after we recorded, I drove up in the tractor and we went and lifted a low loader. And then on the Monday night after I got the cows milked, we went to Feeney.
Or side of Feeney, nearly
yes.
Park. So we met up with Frost. Frosty got us connected with Matthew Warnock, and we took the tractor up to them then. So she's lying up there now at the minute. So we're getting... Then he sent me a picture and he goes, there's a couple of wee things up this tractor. And I was like, right.
How big are the wee things?
My hitch is very badly worn.
Your match?
My hitch?
Alright.
Apparently that's dangerous.
Yes.
Aye, well, it's badly worn. And then I was up a couple of Friday nights ago there, again with them. I took the big Holset turbo I have to see if she'd go in the tractor.
Well,
she would, if you don't ever plan on driving anywhere at low RPMs.
So
It's
it
too
would
big.
be laggy then.
It's too big. It's too laggy. So I have this big ignorant Holset HX35 that used to be in the Sierra and took it off the Sierra because it was too laggy.
How bad is it? Too laggy for a tractor?
Believe it or not, tractors actually run at the exhaust housing is fine,
Yes.
but it's the compressor wheel. Because
Right.
tractors are designed to run at like what? Still have, like, if you have a turbo in your tractor, you still want to be boosting at like 800 RPM.
You'd think though with a big displacement engine,
Aye.
you
I
know,
thought that too, but no, because I'm not doing tractor pulling or it's not going to be in high revs, build and boost. If I was going to go and pulling with it, all day long, you could sit, tune the pump and go to 190 horsepower and then she'd throw
to be fair
rod
though,
straight to
whenever
the
you
sky.
see you reversing, because the way she's geared only has one reverse gear.
Well, there's 3 boxes, like
Aye,
three speeds, you know, ranges.
You rev the dong out of it.
Have to.
reverse.
Ah, you have to, otherwise
All
you
the
just
boosts
lag.
in reverse.
All the boost in reverse.
All the boosts in reverse, you just
You'd
lag.
be tractor pulling in reverse.
I would be the type of person that would line up for a tractor pull in reverse and go and take out the sled.
Sure, the other night, farming simulator, I hooked a tractor onto a trailer with a front linkage
Yeah.
in midair. I was just sitting there at the drop bar, but it works. So
Fair enough.
What wrote me about that entire journey was we were going up the road to Warnock's and we got to the yard and realised one of the straps had broke. That was your dodgy driving.
No, it wasn't. So the way we had the tractor strapped on was we had one strap. So the tractor was on the trailer in reverse, basically. So the back wheels were basically facing the back of my tractor. But we had one strap,
Through the
basically
wheels.
howling her to the front of the trailer, and then one strap pulling again it. So you'd imagine all the weight plus the weight of the other strap was pulling in one strap. That was fucking stupid.
It worked till we got.
Did you not give it the extra pull and say that's not going nowhere?
I did.
Oh, you did?
Twice.
Twice.
I even stopped outside Mahara and it was completely tight. And I was like, just before we got on to the Glen Shane, I was just like, oh, jeez, that's going nowhere. But to be fair,
It broke on the lane of the man's house, so it's okay.
Tractor didn't go anywhere, thankfully.
We just started like bobbling,
Yeah.
in the lane, and the lane was up a hill, so we're like, good brakes, hopefully.
So that was alright. And then breakdown number 2 was coming back from. This was the same day. So the reason why we ended up at your man's house so late was because I was coming back from Dublin from work in the Bora. And the next thing I was driving along, just nice as you like, and I heard this almighty bang. And the next thing, the entire car like bounced, and I was like, oh fuck, and all I heard was boop, 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 and I was like, oh my god, gearbox is gone. Just put the car in neutral, and the banging noise still went, and I went, not gearbox, and then put my foot in the brake, and there was nothing.
Oh.
And I went, yes.
Problem.
So literally I just went, today I chose death. So very slowly but quickly come to a stop.
They just let her freewheel to stop.
Aye. And
You'd have been fucked if you're going downhill.
well, I went to pull. Imagine I was coming up to the toll bridge.
You'd have been able to fucking.
the toll bridge was stopping.
I was going to say you'd have tooted the horn one. Cheers. I'll get you on the way back.
You had to go through the lane.
I was
Where
going to say, be through one of them lanes, then you'd be fined fucking how much money? I don't know for that. But
if it was like M50, you'd be paying 350.
No, that's it. Aye. Or get a million letters.
do you have to pay it?
No comment.
Nobody
No
knows.
comment.
So anyway, then I was like,
Just
right.
don't say you're red, you're okay.
That's it.
And then I was like, so put the foot in the brake. I was like,
Private
right,
toll
okay.
bridge.
Went to pull the handbrake, and the handbrake just went whoosh. And I was like, problem. And so then it was banging. I was like, right, okay. And then car finally freewheeled and got to a stop. And the one bit between like Newry and Belfast that just has no signal. So I had no internet signal, barely any phone signal. It's like just before Sheep's Bridge. And anyway, pulled in and got out and looked below the car, and there was a lot of like brake fluid leaking. And I went, that's a problem.
Probably
And then-
that would happen when you've no brakes.
Aye, funny that. And then looked and seen like a wire was snapped and went, all right, okay. And then looked around and seen that my brake caliper was lying in my alloy.
Oh, good.
And I was like, oh, good. And I was
That's
like,
not meant to be there.
Michael's like,
It's
no
just-
need for diagnostics. I think I've heard.
I was just like, how does that caliper come off?
No,
then
Michael,
looked-
it's just
and then
sitting
looked
there.
in and went, No carrier there either. Whatever happened, the carrier bolt ceased. Ceased? No, it didn't cease. What's the opposite?
It's
Sheared. Carrier bolts sheared. Now, I don't know what happened, but I am wondering did it have something to do with that night that we went to the snow?
I think I know what happened. You lost brakes.
Aye, but like I'm wondering was it that night we went out in the snow and I just drove for like 3 miles with the handbrake up?
Well, I said he was stupid for doing it.
Anyway,
Well,
I might have maybe done it. But anyway, so yeah, looked in, then got recovered, and I couldn't send the boy my information where I was. So had to describe it to him and occasionally get out of the car and ring him and ask him how he was getting on. He would then give me an update and I'd go, just keep you going. And eventually had to flag him down when I seen him coming our way and I just had to flash the lights like fuck. So that was my 2 weeks. That was since we last recorded. What about you?
I milked cows.
Aye.
I
helped you milk cows.
You did actually, yes. You did. No, like he alright. I was like, if I'm fucking doing you a favour, you're going to give me a bit of a hand, you know. So yeah, you come over. You had to go in the parlour and
Done alright.
no, you didn't do too badly. It's going to sound boring as fuck, but I just literally have been milking cows and been busy. Been down with the busy.
You've had nothing unfortunate. Why is it always me?
You just make stupid choices.
Oh, come on. My brake carrier falling off wasn't exactly a stupid
You
choice.
literally just said you were trying to be Stephen Halferty in the snow.
no, the problem was the car's automatic.
Probably.
That's why the caliper fell off.
Fair enough.
No.
No, maybe.
Do you really hate automatics?
Uh,
I don't.
you can't clutch kick them.
As a front wheel drive car, why would I clutch kick the Bora?
Rollbacks.
All right.
Everybody needs a rollback.
Yeah, it doesn't do rollbacks.
I was asked to do a rollback in the Civic, and I said, "You pay for my tires, I'll do a rollback." And then they went, "No," and I went, "Well, then no."
I will.
Do you not get tortured all the time?
No, I don't be anywhere.
To be fair, I tortured you in the port how many times?
You did, but
Not to do a rollback.
No, but the problem was my car has a standard 328, so it's got that gammy limiter that nobody ever wants to hear.
Yeah.
So when somebody says light her up, you go,
You have a E36
No.
Estate.
yes, 328. So it's Donkey knows the crack.
He does know the crack.
He not get his 323 map there recently. Made it sound far better.
Yeah.
Why don't you do that?
I did do that for Donegal Rally, but the problem was I robbed the ECU out of the green car, which is a Scottish car.
Yes.
So then it had to go back.
So
it's just a shared ECU. It's been in about 10 different cars.
Do you never worry about having any issues with the wiring or anything like that, or just
No.
No.
it just works?
To be fair, yeah.
Can you imagine trying to do that with like a standalone link or an ECU master or something like that?
Go on, give me your link there, lad. I want it for the weekend.
It's like literally even with standard or like
Steve was just like, I am the BMW guy. I know what I'm doing.
Hi, but it's just
Michael
funny.
was just like, I am a fitterer. I do. I just do. I have no research.
Right. Well, if there's no crack with you, we'll move on to Stephen. What's the crack with you then?
Absolutely not much more than him.
You not Driftland at the weekend?
I know it was round 3 of the KD Customs Winter Battle Series.
What is the KD Customs Winter Battle Series?
Just to bring it back 2 wee seconds. Stephen will have you on GR Pro Drifter.
Yes.
So essentially, you would go to KD Customs, obviously, to drift.
Yeah.
You're not just a random bloke that just decided to go to Scotland for no reason.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Fair enough. No. I wasn't there at my holidays and went, there's a lot of drifting on. I'll go and do a bit of drifting.
Sounds like what I did in one of my holidays.
Yeah. I got back from the weekend. What did you do? I went drifting, but so I'm in Scotland there for round 3 of the KD Customs Winter Battle Series.
What is the KD Customs for anyone that doesn't know?
KD Customs Winter Battle Series is basically it's a, how do you put it, it's an off season drift season.
Is it like a wee thing for seat time?
Pretty much. It's competitive but fun seat time over the winter. So it is. You have a lot of local Scottish boys doing it, but you also have a lot of ones travelling from
local for us.
Not local. So you have a lot of Scottish ones that do it, but you also have a lot of ones that travel up from England and Wales and stuff to do it as well. And you also have some big names that come over from Ireland, e.g. Conor Shanahan, Jack Shanahan,
Stephen Halferty,
Harry Kerr, Aaron Breen, Callum Coogan. There's a lot of there is just giving all the mates a shout out, there is a lot of boys that come over from Ireland as well to do it. Probably because it is. I tell you what it is. It's good, cheap fun, but it also keeps your hand in competitive drifting.
When you say cheap, I presume you're not using your actual drift cars. You're using like a bash car.
It's everybody's in fairly similar.
Is it not like all BMW 36s?
90% of them are 36 BMs or 46 BMs. You have a handful of M3s and you have a handful of like 350Zs and stuff.
But boys even go up as far as M3s? Really?
A 3 litre M3 is your limit. They don't allow
so
3.2.
300 horsepower. So
they're basically that's basically what they have is they have a 300 horsepower limit. So you can't have. I tell you what it does. It makes it very competitive.
Oh, 100%.
So like you're going in at a battle and you're on somebody's door all the time.
And probably street tires as well.
Yeah. And limited to a 225 tire width. So
yes.
It's so level playing, if that makes sense. The variety. What are you talking? Probably the lowest horsepower car is 190 brake, and the highest horsepower car is maybe like 280.
Yeah.
So
it's not
as good or bad as it sounds. Saying this, you see who actually is a driver out of it.
Pretty much, yeah.
So it's all right. Somebody land to ADC or whatever and 600-700 horsepower, but it's who's good whenever
when
you have to work.
Yeah, when all the cars are the same, you see who can who can drive or who can push a car.
Who can push a car is not really like obviously whenever you have a lot of money and the way drifting's going, like fuck me, some of the way things are. Like boys that have cars built with wise fab kits and winter stiffs and you name it and everything, and then you're throwing into an E36 with maybe modified knuckles and a lot of diff.
That's it.
And that's like literally
nobody has Wi-Fi. It's the most basic. I'm pretty sure I have a bus shock on the front of my car. Like it's cheap coilovers, it's cheap lock kits. My car is practically a road car. The only thing missing out of it is the back seats, and it's got 2 bucket seats and harnesses in it and a hydraulic handbrake.
Well, does it ever throw up any surprises from obviously you have your mainstays that do Europe and that, like the Shanahans, but do you ever see any surprises like some local lad from Scotland?
No, there's very good drivers in Scotland, to be fair, and they're nearly all brought up on that there. Like over here we used to have the AMA, NAMA, and that was, I suppose that's
gone but not forgotten.
Yep. But suppose that's what this is nearly, as in like that is, it reminds me of that, if that makes sense. I started in AMA in 2017.
That's right.
And that was, I suppose that was like grassroots drifting, if that makes
100%.
sense. That was your, big horsepower cars for like 350 brake. That was no 600 horsepower then, if that makes sense. So this is that, but in Scotland. So it's very good, and you have very good local drivers as well.
And then probably with all of you going over, like you're saying, you're going over the likes of like Aaron Breen and Callum Coogan and all like them boys, and then you see the likes of Jack and Conor and all. And it's probably nice to be over there with all your mates and boys that you drive along and drive against and stuff like that. That's probably as good as a week skiing or a holiday in Spain or something. Like, to me that sounds absolutely unreal.
Brilliant crack from Thursday night to Sunday night is
so it's like a stag do, and instead of going go-karting, we're going drifting.
We're going drifting.
That's
it in a nutshell.
Like, that sounds like my ideal weekend. Just going out, taking the cars, doing a bit of driving, ending up lying clattered in oil or petrol, fixing something. Like, that sounds like heaven to me.
The ultimate weekend.
I just couldn't afford to do it.
fuck the spa, just give me a pull of oil. And
that's it. And I'll roll around in the muck for a while here. And
hey, Hobby's picking a shit, I'd be with that. So then what way did you get on with it?
I got enough weekend. I had problems with the car in round 2, got them sorted, and I was nearly as happy just to have the car sorted. The results, I had a blast driving the car again.
What car do you have over there?
It's a E36 328 4-door.
What's a 4-door?
Yeah.
Not that really matters.
No, but it's just different to me, huh? So it's
Have you not had every single basically E36 shape going?
pretty much. I've never had a convertible.
Moving on. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll probably keep it that way.
Yeah.
But
Halferty's hairdressing.
So
Midriff getting a fade. just
I free stripes when you hit a bump.
Next thing he'd be doing a YouTube video whenever he's convertible. He'd be like, Manscaped.
Manscaped. That's it. It's no. So it's a
Fuck, I wouldn't want to have a bump while I'm Manscaped. Fuck knows what damage you do. Oh shit!
Whoops. Aye. 999.
And now introducing the Lawnmower 5.0.
It just sounds like something that happened to me. Actually, no, it wouldn't. Why would I put myself in that position? Anyway, moving on.
You'd have a notion for it, I would say.
So anyway, the car was driving better.
Car back to normal as such. So good enough. Qualified 8th, I think, and
Score
86.
Oh, very good.
So
Iron Brain not qualified first. You not built that car. You not maybe thinking about doing a couple of wee things to.
The worst bit is he reckons my car drives better. I gave him a run on it, and he went, "That's unbelievable. I want that." So
you have no excuse.
I have no excuse. Well, my second qualifying run was. I'm going to say it was good. It was good, but then I ran out of petrol.
That's a Michael thing to do.
That's just. See, I spent all the money, getting there, and I just couldn't afford the petrol. So. Had to go
You're the opposite of me. I can afford petrol, but can't afford tires.
That's just actually something. See, when you're over there with them cars, are you like chucking 99 and octane booster and all that onto them, or are you throwing
just 99? That's the good thing over there is when you're here, it's the 97 plus your additive, but over there just put 99 in.
There's a couple of places do 99
Solo
too.
does 99. Like I run
over
that
here
car,
now, yeah.
So I don't know if it's good 99 or not, but
that's the problem over here. At least over there you have what have you got? Your Shell
V-Per, Tesco Momentum.
So I think that's you do notice the difference, to be honest.
100%.
Whenever I had the M3 over there, I filled her with 99, and it was like I ran her 99 plus the additive, and it was good.
You can smell Conor's Type R when he's been running 99. There's like a sweeter smell off your car.
Well, a wee side note, like I can mind watching the video and they done like dyno tests. So it was BP Ultimate 97, Tesco 99, Shell 99, and all mappers in mainland UK prefer Tesco because it's supposedly
it's probably more consistent.
It's more consistent, yeah. Whereas Shell, it was just outperforming BP 97, like, and then you've ethanol, and then it's a lot better.
Yeah, but then
do you ever run ethanol? No.
Just don't try and start the car on a cold day. Ethanol doesn't ignite to like a certain temperature. So if for the likes of the boys that are drifting out in drift masters in Europe, no problem because the temperatures are always up.
Or like
But it's real good for keeping the intake temperature down.
Yeah.
So, but long story short, if you're over here, you're probably starting with a brake liner just to get it up and going.
Fuck. There you go. I suppose we'll move on to actually talk lots about Stephen and less about ourselves then.
Can do. I mean, we never actually found out how he placed, but
forgot about that.
So what way did you?
If you work it out, I think it was like 7th overall.
Well done.
Thank you very much.
It's your favourite number, isn't it?
It is actually, yes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So I top.
He done it for you.
I think I told Dick now for butting it. Anyway.
There you go. I knew he was coming on here tonight, so I went, look, do for Conor.
Do for Conor.
But I know what I got went out in the top 8. So look, happy enough. Some really good battles. So top 8. It was a very, very tight battle. In fact, it was that tight that Stuart Dobson removed my back bumper bar with his front bumper and finished the run with my bumper bar sticking out of his wheel arch. So it was a tight run.
Didn't go to a one more time or anything, no?
No one more times. But top 32 went to one more time, but managed that one.
So to move on to the main topic of...
Take 2.
Thank you, Michael.
Take 3.
Thank you, Michael.
You're welcome.
Fuck up.
Right, keep her that. Come on.
Shut up.
Take 4.
Yes. Anyway.
I'm going to fire you a brake cleaner soon to get you started.
Alright. Have you been fucking sniffing that gas or something from that heater?
A full, pretty much.
Anyway,
thing of it, aye.
so on to the main topic of Mr. Stephen Halferty. So, Stephen,
Hello. Yes, what's crack?
how did it all begin? Like, what led you to drifting, like, from the very start?
I don't actually really know. I tell you what it did was I was up at Eglinton. I think I watched an AMA. That was probably my first event I ever went to watch. And then second event I ever watched was like Global Warfare 3, which was like unbelievable.
Yeah, some difference.
It's some difference.
Eglinton for the AMA, where your fastest car, as you say, was probably like an SR20.
Yeah.
Well, probably an S15 turbo doing 330 horsepower.
Yeah.
To go
That's
to
like going from the Elk, watching D-Turbo's drag race to
Halfar Mocha.
So yeah, that was basically it. And then went and watched. It would have been, I think the next event was like Drift All Stars, possibly.
Yes.
There was they did an event that was
that the one at Titanic?
No, it was in Mandela as well, but it used like the new normal Jap Fest layout as such, but it was, I'm trying to think, was it like Ireland versus Europe or something? There was a name for it, but it ran by your man that owned Drift All Stars at the time.
Right.
That was it, and then that was just probably me hooked on the whole.
So to get into the sport then, what did you do?
First car I had was a 318 compact.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Went and bought a 2.8 engine for it.
Mm-hmm.
Red?
What
age were you?
I'd have been, at that time I was probably 18 or 19.
Yeah.
I never actually got drifting it though.
Okay.
Because, long story short, bought it, stripped it out, put coilovers on it, put a hydraulic handbrake on it, did the usual things. Never bothered changing the engine at this time. And took it to a boy's yard. Dad goes, I have a boy's yard, we'll take it in the chiller. That was grand. I went, no bother. Down to your man's yard, wrecked about on it all day, took his young boy around. And I went, no bother, class day's crack. And on the way home, Dad goes, I've started the car for you. And I went, what? And he goes, what I come bought it for his young boy. I mean, what do you mean he's bought it? And I go, oh no, he's bought it. And I goes, sure, he's going to build this thing in the drift yard. I got you good money for it, sold it. And I went, right, so that was that, gone, out the window.
You will listen.
Yeah. So that was that car gone. And then I'd say it could have been 6 months or a year later, I got...
Just about in. I think your mother would love to do that with Sierra.
She would just burn it. She'd just set it on fire and strap me dead.
The wee man still follow you in Donegal and be like, Michael, have sold the car.
So I'd say, and then bought like a 4-door 36 off Christopher Coleman, just as a rolling shell, and I went, because I still had the 2.8 engine, and I went, I'll put the 2.8 engine onto this, and blah blah blah. And long story short, it sat for 6 months or maybe more, usual projects, and never touched. And then found a 320 Estate on Gumtree for £450 with a year's MOT, and I went, that looks like some car. So it happened to be working.
Why did you look at an Estate and go, that looks like some car? Most people would look at an Estate and go, fuck the ones with like bus there. Like,
I actually looked at it going that it was all the bits I needed to put into the other car. So it was more, I looked at it actually, that's the joke, is it was originally to be a parts car.
It was the parts car.
It was the donor car.
Yeah. And so I bought it, actually turned out to give your man £300 for it.
You got it even cheaper?
Yes, it was £300. There was 353 days of MOT on it. It was just serviced, and I went, no bother. So I actually drove it on the road. For a couple of months, got rid off in a scrambler, and went, that's it, I'm going to build this into a drift car. So I was going to say I put a hydraulic handbrake on it, but it didn't even. I welded the diff and put coilovers on it and took it that day, and went, right.
On a trailer?
On a trailer, yes. And did that there, still with a broken hand. I had a plate and stuff in my hand. Went to Hadouy, could barely pull the normal handbrake doesn't work on them at the best of times, and couldn't pull it with a broken hand. Oh, probably the worst day's drifting ever. But I went, oh, that was class. And,
You have to start somewhere.
Had to start somewhere. And next time then I'd hydraulic handbrake on it and change this and change that. And long story short, 2-3 months later, I put an entry in for AMA for the season, and I went, at this stage the car was still a 2 litre. It had nothing done to it. It really hadn't got any further than extra lock and hydraulic handbrake. And I was like, I'm one of these people that needs a deadline. I need to like go, all right, the car has to be ready for
I'm like that.
That date. So, but in the entry for AMA, round 1 was whatever it was. I think it was maybe April or May or something. And they did a practice day or a media day or something before the season started, and it was April. I still hadn't touched the car. So I went and watched it, and then that was it. That was like 2 to 3 weeks then, right? Kind of need to do something with this car, and put the 2.8 in it and turned up to the event. So the first ever time driving sort of 200-ish horsepower, maybe 190 horsepower, was at the first round of AMA in 2017, and I was like, sure.
Are you one of those guys that just fuck it?
Yeah, pretty much.
I would be shitting myself. I'd be absolutely fucking shitting myself.
So I thought it was a real gimmick having in the Estate. I put roof bars on her and put tires and all across her and all, just for photos, had to be done.
It's cool to be fair.
So that's how it started, and then at the end of that year, you didn't need a cage. That was a good thing about AMA. AMA was like a starter block.
It was pure grassroots. Yeah.
Pure grassroots. So you needed bucket seats, harnesses, kill switches, fire extinguishers. You needed all the
bare necessities,
but you didn't need a cage. And the cage is a big thing because at the end of the day, a cage at that time, even at that time, could have been 800 to 1,000 pound. So for somebody that was looking to get into the sport, that left it dear. You take it as 300 pound. I maybe give 200 pound for the engine. I turned up to my first AMA for like maybe 1,000 pound. That was bucket seats, everything in it. But if you were having to cage it and do other bits, that was maybe going to be $2,000 plus. So I suppose that's what got me into drifting. If you want to say AMA got me into competitive drifting.
Yes. Well, out of curiosity then, see, even back in AMA, did you kind of need like a sponsor for tyres, or was it just everything was self-funded?
Everything was self-funded at that time. That was just purely a case of, I suppose I didn't know if I was going to stick at it.
Fair enough, yes.
I'd never done it before. I didn't want to be the person to go, oh, would you sponsor me? Oh, what have you done? Nothing. Suppose it was, but at that time it was part warrants.
Yeah.
So you just went and took all the part warrants for a few quid?
Yeah, whatever you get your hands on.
Yes,
pretty much. And that was it.
£20 probably would have got you, say, 16-inch wheels back then. 16-inch tyres.
I'd tell you what, better, you could have maybe went and give 60 quid for 4 wheels with tyres on them. That sort of way. Like, and that was it in a nutshell. Maybe at the last round, I bought 10 brand new tyres. Right? And I was going, oh, lethal. By the way, they were £28 a tyre for brand new tyres. So, like,
pure hard dung.
Candas.
Oh,
Candas were alright.
They actually were alright. And the best thing about them was they kind of worked, but the one set I put on for the last round might have still been on her 6 months later.
That's like Eglinton. You go to Eglinton and come back and wear grip on your tyres.
I pick up everybody else's trade. But so that was that. And then
what year was your first year of AMA?
2017.
And a side note on AMA, do you think that this country misses something like the AMA Championship?
Oh, 100%.
Do you, like...
We
don't have that anymore.
No, we don't have anything up here. Even the south now, you take it. There used to be IADC, which was the Irish Amateur Drift Championship, and that was a bit of a stepping stone. Yes, you needed cages and all for it, but suppose that's exactly what I'd done. That's for that 2017. That's what happened to me. Was did AMA, and then IADC come on because it ran in the winter. And there was a license day on, and same thing, there was a pile of boys from AMA, and suppose I got friendly with them over the year, and they were going, oh, we're going to go down and do the license day, why don't you put an entry on? And I went, aye, so did I will. So I did put an entry on, and then actually got my license for the Irish thing then, and went and done that, but you needed a cage for that, so then that was the next stage for the car. I got a cage, and I had to do a few other bits then to bring it up to, suppose, spec or standards.
Well, did you weld in a cage yourself?
No.
Well, then a cage, roughly, obviously, it was one thing buying the car, putting the 2.8 into it and that, but like, how much was the cage to do back then?
As I
Roughly?
say, back then, I think a cage maybe only like £700.
So you're talking
£700,
near enough the cost of your car just to do a cage in it.
Aye.
So
Double.
that was obviously a
Double if you got the car for £300.
Aye. Yeah, pretty much.
You know, by the time
Aye,
you
yeah, yeah, 2 and stuff. Aye, yeah.
Just, I'm still, because I'll edit this out.
pull your mic a wee bit closer.
I'm actually thinking about I'm breathing.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, fair enough.
I'm thinking more. Just want to maybe do something for TikTok, but I'm trying to rephrase it in a certain way. Like, so I'm going to probably edit this a bit. But like with the likes of AMA and stuff, do you think that now the way drifting has went in this country and the way there's so much big power and stuff like that, like a series like the AMA would nearly be looked down on? Or do you think people would still jump at the chance of doing something like the AMA?
I still think that somebody would jump on. And, you know, it should be jumped at because
Agreed.
It's hard for somebody to get into the sport now.
Oh, 100%.
You know, you take it that Pro 2 and IDC is now like a Pro 2. You take it in 2019. I won basically the Pro 2 championship in an M3.
Yep.
An M3 is now a
absolutely.
grassroots car.
Yeah,
It's no longer
completely uncompetitive.
You know, so that's where drifting has gone. In the space of 4 years, say 5 years, it has now gone till Pro 2 cars like 500 horsepower.
Yeah.
So it is just, I think it's missing that bit where some man with a 2.8, some man with a 330 and Alteza, you know, that can enter to a thing that they might have a chance at, or might go, I like this here, or they're good at it and can progress. Even young people, there's no thing now that somebody that's 14, 15 that's going and doing Bishop's Court and, you know, when Eglinton was on or whatever, you know, there's nothing for them, you know, to get into competitive.
Is it sort of that now, obviously there's no AMA, but it's now basically progressed into you need to go to Bishop's Court, you know, for a day's crack.
Aye.
And that's all they can do.
Yeah.
And they're never going to know if, you know, they could ever build confidence or get any better because they don't know who they're driving against, and they can't, unless they're going out of their way to be social, they're never going to form any real friendships or that.
There's no tracks even. Like, what have you got? Nuts Corner. No, I do actually think that a Challenger series or like a beginner series at Nuts Corner actually would be wild crack. But where else would you have it other than Nuts Corner?
You literally, unfortunately, you only have Nuts Corner and Bishop's Court. The good thing is about Bishop's Court is Bishop's Court's big enough that,
that if you fuck up, you're not hitting the wall.
No, but Bishop's Court's big enough that you can have different runs, different layouts, different.
Yes.
You take it AMA back in the day. It was like, was it 4 rounds or 5 rounds? And 4 of them were in Bishop's Court.
Yes.
And every round was different
They just
layouts
shifted the tires.
they just moved it around. It's an airfield. You can do
whatever
it's
you
an
want.
Open
Because you can't get on the Shackleton. I think it's difficult to get on the Shackleton.
It's difficult to get into Shackleton. It's just, I suppose that's the problem with drifting. Drifting has unfortunately got a bad name.
Aye, and then AMA would even, or the likes of that equivalent, where it's like literally they're going to go, oh, it's a group of young boys turning up on their rear-wheel drive cars. At least if you've seen the likes of, like, for instance, the first round of the ADC, or even in general, like some of the big vans and vehicles you would have coming out, and some boys even showing up in the likes of lorries. Like the organizers are going to look at that and go, oh, okay, there's a couple of pounds spent here. Some man coming in a 328 with a bumper missing or something like that there, they're just going to look at that and go, ugh.
But then like a lot of people aren't educated, just see drifting as different.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh, you do a crossroads.
That's.
I've experienced firsthand, Snowbury, of drifting, like against drifting. Like I remember in an old job, like there was a fella and he was like, I remember saying like, oh, but I really like drifting, and he was just like, he's like, how could you like drifting? He goes, you know, it's a judge sport. Like it doesn't make sense. Like there's not, like how could you do that? You know, there's no defined winner. It's all based on opinion. And I was just like, yeah, but it's fun.
Now
you're missing the point.
With drifting progressing as much as it has done, though, it's now gotten way. It's nearly got a bit elite. Like you need to have thousands spent in your car, and now that it has got the better name or slightly better name, it's now out of the reach for the grassroots person because there is no amateur championship. Because like Drift All Stars, like I hadn't a clue about it, but now Drift Masters is blew up to something unreal. Like,
drifting has become a massive sport. There's no doubt about it.
Which is great.
But I think that it's not now. It's probably 3 to 4 years time where you have the ones that are, I don't know, not an age thing, but ones that are just been in it a while will go, no, that's it, I'm going out of it. I'll go and do the fun days. I'll not be bothered with the competitive side of it. So all of a sudden then the numbers in your pro grid drop, your numbers in your pro 2 grid drop. So then it does that lull where you maybe have a couple of years of nobody coming through.
That happened.
Well,
Yeah,
That did happen.
Yeah.
That happened.
well, out of curiosity, would you agree with this? That since, say a few years ago, just before they changed it to like Drift Games Nationals, which you won, and the Drift Games Extreme, you had the ADC, and you could nearly see that. Say if you were, getting into it, you had the AMA, you naturally progressed then to the IADC, and then if you won it or you did well in it, then you got down to ADC. There was a clear pathway to move up. And then if you're fucking really good at it and you can get sponsored back in and you had a few pound yourself, eventually you could with talent get the Driftmaster. So there was a natural progression.
No,
there isn't.
No, there isn't. No, you nearly need that bit of money to get 100%. You started now. And that's it in a nutshell. Is you asked how I started drifting when it was cheap. That's
well, when I kind of tell that story. So after, because it's quite an interesting one, as you know. So your first year drifting, you did it in a converted estate car. Is that still the estate car you were driving until recently?
That's the exact same car.
See, that's fucking class too. Like, that's because there's a lot of people very, very quick to jump and go, no, I need to get into an S14. Everybody's driving S14s and all this here. You were constantly punching in the rounds and getting the scores in a brick.
Aye, pretty much, yeah.
The only thing that would have been more fucking tank worthy is a Volvo.
Aye. Second best of Volvo, couldn't afford one.
But after the first year of AMA, then where did you go from there?
First year AMA, that, and then as it says, that winter was AADC. I went and done. That's right. I think I went. I only could do 3 of the rounds that year, so didn't do well enough to get my Pro 2 license as such. 2018 then was. I suppose it was a weird year because there's no AMA. That was the first year that there was no AMA, so there wasn't a wild pile for me to do. But what I did get was a lot of seat time because you had Eglinton, you had Ahadui, you had
Eglinton.
And you had. Did you have Bishop's Court? There's maybe a couple of days happened at Bishop's Court in 2018.
Bishop's Court kind of stopped for a long time.
Aye, but there was a.
Do you not do a very smart thing though to get seat time? Something a wee bit different than drifting.
Aye. Well, yes, technically I started with that.
Oh, okay.
I did target rallies, the lanes rallies. That was, technically that is how I actually started. If you want to go into motorsport as such, that's how I started. I had the compact, 318 compact, and it was cheap fun. And that's what it was. It was a bit of fun. You were never competitive in a BM. Because you had a pile of MX-5s that were 500 kilos lighter.
Yes.
Same horsepower, but 500 kilos lighter. And they were running some yards, diff yards, fancy this. And,
Well, were you going into that to win it, or were you going into it to, say, whenever you had, your estate belt, was it more so to get more feel for the car, going into different corners and different obstacles and all that carry on, or was it...
I'm going to torture the fucking life of this thing to see how she takes it. Was it more of that?
Aye, more just that... A bit of crack, I suppose it was. I tell you what it was. It was nearly a mixture of the two. It was a mixture of nearly drifting, but a bit of time. You had a time thing to it, if that makes sense. It was.
Yes.
I suppose it was car control. It was just seat time. If you could get drive. Yeah. And as I say, that's probably what brought me on. Was 2018. So 2017, I did my 4 or 5 rounds of a championship as such. Did maybe 3 or 4 drift it, like Ahaduis and Eglinton and stuff, and so things like that. But as it says in 2018, if I could get driving, I went driving, and I suppose it worked because Colin Tenney that ran, or who was AMA as such, he ran an event in the Econ Centre, Lisburn.
Yes, that's right.
Ended up second there. So that was my first podium as such.
Was that Jap Car Culture that was on along with?
It actually might have been, yeah. And then he did one in Tina in Galway, which was north versus south thing. Oh, so it was like AMA boys and boys that drifted down that part of the country. and same thing. Ended up actually finishing second in it behind a 500 horsepower BM.
Oh.
So I was like, all right, okay. And then that winter, that was, when I say winter, right, I stripped the car. Never really did much with the car. And then 2 weeks before the first round, the car turned into an M3 and was painted in blue, and that was it. It was lastminute.com.
So it turns out
It's a common
that
theme here.
There's a very common thing
So
here.
it turns out that in a fortnight you pull your finger out.
Yes, aye. That's in a nutshell. I could show you a photo, and the date was the Saturday before. Sorry. No, it was. Yes, it was the Saturday before the first round of the Nationals Championship. And the engine, I painted the engine by myself. The engine base painted, the engine's in, and the car's running.
Well, see, from AMA to then what was Drift Games Nationals, then that was that year.
That was 2019.
Did, see, in regards to the step that you had to climb, was it then that you were like, oh, I need to get somebody on board here for a bit of cost?
Aye. Yeah, pretty much.
I still remember you putting up your status about looking for sponsorship. I remember that.
Aye. And that was it in a nutshell. I suppose I was getting to that point where I went, maybe I might get a sponsor, I might get someone to help me. And the expense. I know all of a sudden, instead of using 2 tires in an event, I might have been using 6. And I was going, 8. I didn't know. At the end of the day, I'd nearly doubled my horsepower. So I was like, all right, this is going to be, I'll be braking stuff, I'll be doing this, I'll be doing that. And that's pretty much what 2019 was. 2019 was nearly my car was never built. It was progressively built, if that is that a sort of
So
such
as
thing.
you got better and got to know the car more, you
did
added bits to it.
Aye. So that's like 2018. 2017, the car got the 2.8. That was it. End of 2017, the car got caged. It wasn't in the middle of 2018. I actually stripped the inside of the car, painted it, stripped out all the wiring, wired it myself, brought it down to bare minimum. Suppose actually turned it into an actual drift car as such.
Yep.
And then, it says then, started 2019 and got the M3 engine, did a lot of other bits, started making it into a good car.
Well, then, what way did you go about to get your first sponsors?
Probably lucky enough was, suppose it was people we knew. Yeah, that's if you have somebody that's maybe, suppose that's if you were giving advice to somebody that's looking sponsorship,
That's what I'm trying to lead into.
Yeah,
Wink.
Yeah. If you maybe know somebody, or your dad knows somebody, or your mom knows somebody that has a business, or knows somebody in a business, or whatever, even a tire company, if some man could give you, if he can give you £5 off a tire, if he can give you anything off, if he could fit your tires, anything,
It's an advantage to you.
Aye,
Anything,
yeah. If you can get somebody to give you anything at the start, be it a one tire, you buy 9 tires off and he gives you 1 tire, take it. It's a start. You'll get there. It's hard to get there, but it's just.
So it was through word of mouth, more or less, and people you knew.
People we did work for, or Dan knew, or something like that. There, yeah, that's how I got my first sponsor.
When you posted that first status, like asking them about sponsorship and all, were you not terrified? The thought of doing that makes me feel sick. I'd be getting so self-conscious in case no one commented underneath it or something like that.
Well, as Conor said earlier, I'm sort of got to the point I'm a fuck it attitude. It's sort of
ego here.
It's
main character syndrome.
So it's pretty much.
But you have to be fearless.
It is. It's got to the point where. You nearly do need to put yourself out there. I don't like doing that, to be honest. I'm terrible with PR. I'm terrible with pushing myself. I'm terrible with that. But at times I just
think of all the views and all the attention you're going to get through this podcast. All 3 people watching.
That's it. It's there's 2 people watching me now.
So one more will be staring at the screen very intently.
It is that you have to. There's just a time where you go, I kind of need to do that, because if you want to get somewhere, put it this way, there's nobody in motorsport that has got far by not putting themselves out there.
100%.
Well, then, in regards to a round of AMA versus a round of AAD, or the Drift Games Nationals at the time, cost-wise, difference, roughly?
You're probably talking, well, the first one, you take it, you're driving a van to Bishopscourt, which was an hour and a bit away.
So 100 grand fuel.
So, Aye. Say
And a borrowed trailer, probably.
Yeah, exactly. So that you're talking, that was £100 for that and hire in the trailer or whatever, and then your fuel for the car maybe 40 quid, because that time you weren't bothered. You might have put super unleaded and you might have just ordered on or ordered unleaded.
It would have been all right.
Yep. But then. And then your entry fee and stuff would have been cheaper and stuff. Things they got there.
50 quid entry and maybe say 4 sets of tyres at 25. So £100 tyre. 350 max.
Maybe, 350.
So £400
Say
for
£400. £400 definitely would have done you an AM80. And then going to the south, you're instantly. You probably wouldn't have been. The first round, I think your biggest problem is it's the south. And you go to a hotel. Or you go to stay somewhere.
Yeah.
Even your cheapest option for the night could be still €80.
Oh.
€100.
Yep.
So I suppose that was the first big thing, was you were going down for it. Instead of going to Bishop's Court for a 2-day event, which
home.
was drive up, drive home, drive back down again the next day and drive home again. You were having to stay. You weren't going to drive to Mondello or drive to Watergrass Hill and drive home again.
Definitely not Watergrass Hill. You'd be game enough to do it from Mondello. Fuck Watergrass Hill. No.
Even Mondello, I've done it. I've went. I nearly should have just slept in the car park. You're down to watch Drift Masters or something. You've went down for the Saturday. You've stood about talking shite to ones to 6-7 o'clock. Drove back up the road and then set the alarm again for 6 o'clock in the morning to go and drive down again on the Sunday. So, but back to that. I'd say the first round could have been £1,000.
So you're talking 2.5 times roughly the cost.
Yeah, pretty much.
So then, with the Nationals, how did you get on that year?
Spoiler alert.
It's what I call it. It's round one. Go round by round. Round one, diff burst. Got to top 8. Took Luke Barker one more time. Diff burst. Diff actually burst driving back round to the pits to check the car over to go again. It is what it is. Round 2 had Harry Kerr and a couple of silly mistakes on my behalf. There's no other way of putting it. I also ran into Harry in the first corner, so that didn't help things. No. And then round 3, another diff burst coming off the line.
To be fair, you did have a lot of post-up looking diffs.
And then that was top 8. That was round 1 top 8, round 2 top 8, and round 3 top 8. Which still left me actually sitting 3rd in the championship with a point.
Was that because all the drivers are fairly inconsistent? Like you could have.
You always had like maybe 4 or 5. There was 5 boys that were always thereabouts. I tell you what helped me was, you probably know this anyway, like drifting, as in when your top 4 is decided on your top 4. So you have 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and then whoever wasn't 3rd was 4th. So then from 5th to 8th is whoever goes out in the top 8. But it's based on qualifying. So your qualifying score. So I always qualified 2nd, 3rd, 4th.
Yes,
I was always high in qualifying. So every time I went out in the top 8, I was finishing 5th. So that was points wise. I was still always getting good points.
Yes.
So that's inconsistency. There was a lot of good drivers. You take it. That was a grid of maybe 70 plus drivers.
But that's the thing. If it's a lot of good drivers, that means there's a lot of variance.
Yes.
So somebody could be class, but one week they could finish first, the next week they could finish 12th.
That's it. Or you could have bad qualifying. What happens as well is you get some man that, bad day, bad qualifying. He qualified 30th, goes up against the boy that qualified 3rd, and puts the boy that qualified 3rd out. So you have things like that happen. And then, as it says then, so that was that. That was round 3. Sitting 3rd in the championship, I have to do something here. So the car got the overhaul that it should have got at the start of the
season.
year. Yeah. So actually put an M3 5-speed M3 box on it, ZF box. Built not a brand new, but I got a 4.4 crown wheel and pinion medium case one, new bearings, new everything. Just built the diff, put it in the car, and I learnt my lesson that I probably should have went and done that from the first, because I actually won the last round, which then meant I won the championship by 5 points.
Fair play.
So who did you beat that year?
Who was Luke Barker? Was, I think he finished 2nd in the championship. Harry Kerr was 3rd. You'd big good drivers. You Lee McFadden was in that year.
Dara Spencer
didn't do that year. I need to look it up again, but there was Louis Edwards over
Could
from
you
Wales.
even look it up now? Sure, the whole fucking thing about.
Oh, I know. I actually have a screenshot of it for that reason, because that time it was Drift Games.
Yes.
And it was the Drift Games National Championship,
Yes.
and Drift Games Extreme Championship, and the website went. So whenever Drift Games went Drift Games, the actual, I suppose, the championship end of the website went with, just was gone. That was pushed to the side or such, or
So like you technically have to always pull up proof that you did win it.
Aye.
Which is a bit of kicking the teeth too.
Yeah, I have like a sponsorship proposal thing, and I actually had to ask Dave Egan, could he be my guarantor?
Yeah,
because reference basically because of that, because I won a championship that no longer exists.
Bit of a sickener.
It is. I tell you,
Did it affect you though? That like realistically, everybody knows about that. Anybody in those circles knows.
That didn't. That I tell you what, the biggest thing probably that killed me in the motorsport thing was 2020 COVID.
Killed a lot of people.
Aye.
What
went
was
on
the theoretical plans for 2020?
to build the car that I've actually built now.
Oh,
Yes. So the 2J36 was meant to be 2020s.
had you?
Would that not have been the best time to build a car? Technically, you've been doing nothing else.
It probably should have been, but I was a fool and can't keep money.
It happens the best.
More projects bought than you yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
all too well.
Yeah.
All too
At that stage, I had the shell that you've seen.
Yes.
And I had the engine that I have built. So I actually had that all sudden.
So,
Seriously,
Aye.
in 2020.
In 2020.
so just a bit of reference. About 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago
More
or so,
than that.
3 months ago, we went down to Mr. Stephen Halferty's shed, and he showed us
Top secret unit.
Mark II of the E36.
Yes. Version 2, the revised version of the.
What is Mark II, and why did you do it?
Mark II basically it's the E36 Estate with a 2J M3 Evo back end, B&O box. It's
To the point where I thought it was the same car on the left. And you actually said to me,
the whole.
I'm not going to lie, I thought that too.
I suppose the whole gimmick at the time was it was going to be a 1-to-1 replica. It's got the exact same body kit. It's got.
I think you should still do that.
Aye.
So like Kevin Quinn, but
Yes.
E36 Estate.
Yeah. So yeah, it was going to be a 1-to-1 replica, same body kit, same colour.
Just have BM Kings in the bonnet.
Aye, that's it. So it's you're. Aye, it was just going to be a bit of a play on the old car, but hopefully close on double the horsepower.
Have you ever drove anything with that kind of horsepower?
No.
I suppose the only other
Have you
question
never had a
is,
chance to drive like any of the other boys' cars before?
Blaine Rafferty gave me his 180.
450, roughly.
450 brake.
So 4 banger though, so it'll be a different experience compared to a 6.
But even at that, it was still just a different gravy, like different gravy.
the 180 compared to the 36 Estate, is there much difference? Out of curiosity.
I still think a really well set up 36 is nice to drive, and
Well, there's a reason they're so popular in Europe.
don't get me wrong, a 180, the way I described a 36 versus a 180 is like a 180 S chassis, any of them, you nearly know what they're doing like instantly, as in if you had half a day, if you already could drift and you spent half a day in an S chassis, you would be drifting it.
Predictable.
Predictable. That's the word I'm looking for there. Whereas a 36, if you get into one that maybe wasn't set up or wasn't maybe cheap suspension or just something about it, you wouldn't.
It would put you off it.
Aye, it wouldn't be as predictable or maybe a bit chancy.
Is it something you need to know the chassis?
Or just put better parts.
Just probably, suppose you have to spend more money. Whereas if you had an S chassis, you take a standard S chassis road car, maybe cheap coilovers, maybe a lock, maybe cut and welded hubs. Even that's a nice driving car. I suppose it's probably the balance of the chassis as much.
Yeah.
But a 36 is a good chassis, but it's just takes maybe a wee bit more fettling to.
From Mark 1 to Mark 2, have you found that you've had to change anything to make it, obviously make Mark 2 better than Mark 1?
Nothing really. I tell you what I've done is the underside of it is as new. I never got the chance to do that with the first one because it says it was built over a period of 3 years, you want to say. So
and then you didn't look at it from about October till about April, and then I went, oh shit, I need 2 weeks.
Pretty much, yeah. Every time. That's not even a lie. That actually happened over COVID. Was the car sat in the trailer? It must have been 9-10 months, and then something, can't remember what came on, or something was on anyway, and I pulled the car out and was like, oh, this needs a lot of work. And it was a case of, I think there's a photo of, we're going to Watergrass Hill, maybe it was 2021. They did like 2 rounds. They did a round at Tina and did a round in
there was something like
Watergrass Hill. And see, before the round in Watergrass Hill, there's a photo not 12 hours before I was in Watergrass Hill, no back suspension in the car. The back suspension, every bushing was absolutely buggered, gone.
I feel like that's what I'd be like if I was a drifter. I'd be still building the car in the start line, like.
I went. That's actually back to 2019. Was, as it says, so the week before the event, literally the Saturday before. The car was running, driving, but it was still burgundy. I had yet to sand a panel. Kit was in bits, just a mess. And on the Friday at 1 o'clock, it was painted blue. And I was to be in Mondello at 7 o'clock or 7:30 for briefing, and on the Saturday. So, long story short, I lined the car at 11 o'clock on the Friday night in Camillus Bradley Shade, and the paint was still wet. Like, it hadn't hardened. If you touched it, you could put a thumbprint on it. That went on. So I ended up building the car at the event. I ended up finishing the car. Although I was running and driving, I ended up putting the roof rails back on it, the door strips back on it, the lights on it. Yeah, I ended up building the car again at Mondello.
Class.
Well, the best bit was you had to have a plumbed-in fire extinguisher that year. So it was one of them ones. I looked at it and went, no bother. I'll fit that there. I'll fit that there. I never actually fitted it till I got to Mondello. And I was able to ask the scrutineers, where does all the nozzles need to be? So when at the time I got the scrutiny, they just went, assume you've had fitted right, saying that you've been fitting it while you're here asking us questions. And I went, I think it's fitted right, yeah. So, yeah, I laughed. There's a boy said to me, what did he do? He took like the Wednesday or Thursday before it off work just to fit the fire extinguisher. And he says, good job. He says, but it still took me like 3 to 4 hours. And he says, I'm really disappointed in myself. And I goes, why? He says, just watched you fit yours in the garage there for about half an hour. And I was like, well, mine's maybe lashed in a wee bit worse than yours, but yeah, functional. You know,
as long as it
function over form.
So, as long as it works.
Yeah.
So then, so obviously there was nothing then 2020, and kind of on a separate topic of that, like, it was kind of sad to see that, because obviously Eddie Power was going to take over the drifting, and it never really materialised.
We got the one round in ADS, which was, I'm going to say, it might have been late in the year, it was
October.
September, I was going to say, September, October time, we got that one round, and there maybe was meant to be a second round in October or something, but then that might have been restrictions 3 or 2 or whatever.
The second round come out of COVID. And
that was that swipe knocked in the head, and that should have been. I suppose that should have been nearly like. I suppose if Eddie had got going, that should have been IDC.
Yeah,
never should have stopped. That should have just been IDC rolling on. Nothing ever happened. But then just that break, sort of.
Well, basically IDC after that lost all the momentum.
That's what I mean.
Like after that, because I remember whenever like Dave Egan put up the thing saying we've sold the ADC and the Drift Games National on, now it's going to be the ADS, and I've enlisted myself as the first driver, and it was all like, all right, this could be something big, and then boom, nothing. It's kind of a shame. Like
Eddie never got a proper go at it.
Eddie, that's it in a nutshell. Eddie never got a proper go at what could have been. You know, that's it. Because like you take it, he went and put live streaming all up. You know, so that would have just, that's what I'm saying. That would have been IDC just rolling on live stream. You know, hopefully
there wasn't meant to be a live stream though. It was because we couldn't have spectators on it.
That was it in a nutshell. So I suppose that's what. It's what could have been. It should have been. Momentum should have kept on going. Could have kept on rolling it. but it did. I suppose it just died off. But everything died off. Everything COVID just. Everything stopped, and it actually, I suppose every nearly motorsport found it hard to get back going again because
100%. There's restrictions and first year of 2021, that Jab Fest, sure, that was the one everyone nicknamed Jab Fest, and half the country couldn't go because they weren't vaccinated.
That's right. I forgot about that.
And I seen a load of ones like, well, like. I did get the jab and all, like, so whatever, but like I seen a pile of ones on Facebook saying can't go, fuck it, shove your event up your arsehole and all this. Like,
ironically, I thought that was my favourite Jab Fest
because there was nobody at it.
It was as bad as it sounds. Obviously, for the events they need a crowd, but like, you know, there was enough of a crowd there that it wasn't completely overwhelming. And it was just good crack.
That's what it like. Yeah, so basically we were able to go and stand and watch the cars, and there was like four people standing against the fences, as opposed to like 10 deep at the fence.
Yeah. That's the thing about drifting as well, is sometimes some of the biggest events can be ruined because there's just far too many people at it. And like we discussed this earlier about the LZ thing, unbelievable, brilliant event, but the first year of it was like sardines in a tin. You couldn't get moving around the place.
They should have had last year they had the 3 grandstands. They should have had them in the very first year, but I suppose obviously
I suppose they didn't know it was probably going to be as big as it was.
Insane. Like, I remember us buying tickets literally the second. I remember us like literally waiting on the computer to buy tickets.
And you still missed out in grandstand.
Yeah, we missed out in the grandstand tickets because my computer froze. Fucking raging. But they were a bit pricey, I thought, with the fucking VIP tickets.
The first year not so much, the second year definitely. It was kind of out of reach.
It was like first year it was like £120 or something, or 140 or something like
that. For the full weekend.
For the full weekend. Second time round it was like £250. I was like, get fucked. Like,
I suppose what that was then, I suppose they were probably trying to half the ticket numbers. They didn't want as many, but they still wanted to take in the money. Which
does make sense.
And it's funny how like the first year we all stayed in Osprey. And we could not book into it for life nor money. It just
that's right. You were out with us that night. Then that was actually a class night.
That was
we were.
It was me.
Naas Court Hotel was the big after party on Saturday night.
And then we all, because we were chatting to Jimmy Oaks in the hotel. And then it was me and you.
I was drinking.
Then you come along. Kevin Quinn was there.
I know. I was there. So that was a joke because I left because I was third on the Saturday.
Yes.
So then that got me driving through on the Sunday. And so the joke was the Naas Court Hotel was still buzzing at whatever 2 o'clock in the morning. And I went, that's it. I'm going to be half sensible here. I'm going to go back to the hotel, go to bed.
I bought you a drink.
It didn't work out too well. I walked in the door and seen you two boys like, come on, go for a drink. So that was that.
I bought
shot
him 2 double vodkas too.
That was that shot in the head. I don't know what time I had to bed to it. So that was anyway. Long story short, I drove on the Sunday anyway. You know, big grand.
To be fair, you were up against Colette Davis in the Corvette. Would you have said that was because you beat her in the top 16? You went through the top 8.
No, that was top 32.
Top 32. Would you have said that was your Mark 1 at its absolute limit?
Yeah,
like you could drive that thing.
There's no doubt about that there. There's a photo somebody sent me from the grandstand, and the angle, there's about 2 inches between me and Colette coming through clip 2, and I sent a Deegan going, I'm sorry, but I thought your doors were gone. And he went, thanks for not hitting them. But I was a good battle. I suppose it was one of them things, other than the LZ event, when you're going to get battling the likes of Colette or Jimmy Oaks or Adam.
It's class. It is deadly like that.
Suppose that was the thing about the LZ tour last year. You take it that went Ireland, Australia, Canada and America. So it was a big, they toured about as such. So there was a lot of people got driving with people that maybe never would get to drive with.
They said that it's like these 2 people on the grid. Like it's like, do you ever see yourself getting a chance to be against these people? And it's like, no, like Jesus, like it's unbelievable.
I
quite liked what they did the first year. They done the Drift King Ireland. Whereas the second year, they already had like the 32 drivers or something picked, and then there was like, basically the top 13 qualified.
Yeah.
And then basically the top 3, then
from the Saturday went through to the Sunday thing.
Yeah, so they had the competition. So they had, this year they had like 32 drivers lined up instead, whereas the first year it was like all the Irish people going against the chosen top 32.
But like the year or in 23 or year 2 of it, I thought very much lots of it was all the big power cars.
Aye.
They're like where the first year it gave obviously Alexia yourself a chance to drive.
Yeah.
But like not taking anything away from your car. But the second year, like
aye. The car, I suppose the car sort of, not that it did look out of place the first year, but there was no way it was going to be get driving the second year. Even though I had had a reasonable result the first year, yeah, it was the second year was all big cars. There was no. There was like, no.
Here's what Ireland really is, you know.
Aye, yeah.
I don't see any reason now, realistically, with the credentials you have, why you wouldn't be considered for something like that when you now have a JZ36 Hearse. You know.
Aye. Well, hopefully, yeah. I'm not, not say too much, but I would hope to get driving at some of them events this year. Aye, it'd be nice.
Because that is quite elitist, you know. An S chassis with a 2J or an RBE or the likes of something, an S chassis with a V8. Like, we all know S chassis are nice and that, but even Drift Masters, you know, if you see some of the wild cards in some of the other countries, you know, they're what?
Different cars or cars that are driven their country, you know.
Like Volvos and stuff.
Yeah.
Or a fucking Merc A-Class.
I was going to say a C-Class here, Merc, or an A-Class.
What was the one in Australia? The Honda Odyssey drift car.
Yes.
And the wee Nissan. What was the other wee one? The wee white car.
Aye, I know what you're on with, yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if you think about it,
or your Zara plan, you'd love to do.
Well, there's that, but like I suppose if you look at it right, so you're a young cub, if you happen to be listening to this or whatever, or you happen to be watching some of the events, you don't have to have an S chassis. You should be embracing like the cars that do cost 500 quid.
Well, that's it.
Fuck, there's nothing cost 500 quid now.
That's going. That unfortunately that left in 2017, 2018. Yeah, but I understand what you're saying. Is you don't have to be an S chassis, or don't have to be. You don't have to be 36. You don't have to be a 46 for that matter. It just things work. There's just. What you can call them is they're probably proven chassis as such. So you're going to have handier to get parts for, easier to maybe not maintain, but easier to work at, or easier to get advice on. Maybe.
To be fair, the aftermarket for E36s and E46s is insane too. But there's a massive aftermarket.
Yeah,
the problem is that once you go past, like I think the E46 is kind of the last of those sort of achievable grassroots, because when you go into the E92. There's that much more electrical stuff on them.
Yeah.
And you could strip one out and all.
There's no LSDs on them.
Well,
bar like the M3s.
Or you have to buy them and change the whole entire back end. Or you could get a custom made one put in. Now, arguably, you could just weld the diff. But then, is there not a lot of them newer ones of electronic diffs or something?
Aye. Once you go to like an F80 M3, they're like an electronic limited slip.
Well, I'm even talking for someone having like a 325i.
Aye.
The problem is they're that heavy.
Aye. I tell you, the next problem is getting lock kits for them.
Yeah.
You've like 2, maybe 3 companies worldwide that do lock kits. You know, because they have like a multi-link front suspension. It's just hard to get a cheap lock kit. You take it E36, E46, cut and welded arms and cut and welded hubs. You know, I don't know. £140.
It's not
£150.
You could spend a right bit and go for big names, but realistically, someone who
to get going,
someone who fabricates and can weld,
could do it himself. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Well, like, I suppose the thing I'm getting at is like you don't, in the Canadian round of the World Tour, like, was there not an A5 drift car?
Yeah,
realistically, if you're a good enough mechanic, a drift car isn't a road car at the end of the day. You can make fucking anything to it.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. All you have to do is you take FD. Sure, you have the Toyota Corolla.
Ah, yeah. Especially
built, but it's that same thing that suppose that's playing on the rules. You only have to have the subframe or something has to be right. But that's on that principle of anything be a drift car.
Yeah.
You can make Michael's automatic borer onto a drift car. But
Conor wants to do his Zara drift car.
Did you?
Have you heard of Conor's?
So
No.
I joked with him. Could you imagine, like, you know, suppose more as a joke, but
But
technically
then-
you could probably do it. Like, that sounds interesting. Like. So my proposed plan was, you know, the way like back in the day, a Zara D Turbo coming in with Vulcans, 4Nicks, cut springs in the front. Could you imagine a PD 130, well mapped to about 300 or so, drifting around Mondello?
What will be wrong with?
So originally we thought this and we talked about it and we made it seem a bit more complicated, and then I thought you could body swap or body drop a Zara body on the Sierra hatch floor pan, probably similar-ish length. That means you can keep your 4x108 stud pattern, which means you can still run Vulcans. So you have it set up. Then there's a company in Portugal makes a PD 130 to MT75 gearbox adapter. So there's your engine sorted, and you can run all the same stuff. And then it's just a matter of just making sure you get your nice big mud flaps and a big
CB area.
See, it's just CB aerial. That's 100% needed.
Like as mad as that sounds,
you could do that if
It's
you have
It
the
is
money.
doable. Anything's doable. You take it. I'm not sure where it's at. I'm going to assume it's possibly Germany. There is a Mark 6 Golf with a 4.4 V8 BM engine drift car.
I love that.
but
I love
but
that.
that's
I
the
love
thing,
that.
though.
I love
Like,
drifting
No.
for that.
That's you've the what do you call it, the transporter van. That's a drift car.
What one's that now?
Again, I don't know where that is. Look up like Gateball.
Oh,
you take
that's
when you go to
Jesus
Gateball. Gateball just has a bit of everything in it.
Gattable's absolutely fucking nuts. It's somewhere I always said I'd go and then just never got in the end.
Yeah.
It's fucking mental.
But it's taken back to the original point, saying that look, whenever you have got a fucking E36 Estate, you know, I'm sure E36 Estates are probably still not too bad of money compared
No,
to
they're
coupes and 4 doors and all that carry on.
Oh, that's it. If you have a 3-tier estate,
There's no reason why you shouldn't use it.
But yours is also sitting out there, like your, is it style 44s?
66s.
66s. That looks cool as fuck. Dad,
Aye.
is there a lip kit? Have you like a lip kit?
No, I always wanted to do a lip kit, but never actually bothered.
Rhino lip.
I'd probably wipe it clean.
No, Rhino lip. It's like universal splitter on eBay, £7 a roll. Stick it on it. That's what I done with the Polo.
It's like, it looks like it. That's a really cool looking car.
Aye.
Sitting there, decked.
It's a cool enough daily. Like it's driven all the time. That's just it.
It's a workhorse.
And it's a workhorse. It is
2.8.
2.8.
What's it like in fuel?
No comment.
It could not be any worse than my AS300.
It's. I tell you what it is.
18 mile to the gallon.
All right, it's not actually as bad as that. To
Yeah.
be fair, if you're doing a long run and not going mental, it'll actually do 30.
Oh.
It'll 20 normally, but average out it probably does 24, 25.
Well, quick question for you, Stephen. Do you say in 10 years' time, right? Obviously, there is only so many S chassis, and there's only so many BMs in that. There's obviously more BMs than S chassis.
But new BMs are shite for it.
Do you see any other sort of chassis coming into it, or people going to random shite that you look at now to build something cheap?
I don't know. I tell you, if you're looking something cheap, you are moving on with the years. But then, as you say, you're going to have mechanical, electrical problems. Your E90s have become into that cheap thing. You can pick an E90 now for like £1,200, £1,500. But you're still back to that. But people are using them now.
Yep.
So that it is. Yeah, you're still moving on with the years, I suppose. But I 100% know what you're saying is. You take it that if you go back 10 years ago, E30s were a drift car.
Yeah.
Now an E30, a 316 is like $7,000. So you're not going to take a 316 and convert it and do this with and do that. But
Same
it's
as
just
Sierras. Like,
Yeah,
you just,
exactly.
boys
Exact same thing,
Boys
yeah.
don't even want to drive them anymore because they're worth so much.
aye. So that's it in a nutshell. Yeah, you think about it. It's all that stuff's moved on. You go back 20 years ago, maybe 30 years ago, 20 years ago, say, you had the likes of Declan Mulney that had the Mark II Escort drift car. you had Mark II Escort, you had all them things. So yeah, it's
now people literally put them in heated sheds and don't look at them because they're.
But it's the exact same thing. It's the Sierras, the E30s. It's the stuff that's nearly going to 20 amps.
Yeah,
think of 20 amps.
Yeah.
It's the exact same thing. So 10 years time, you're probably going to be talking E90s. But what'll happen is it'll be as cheap to gut them and put maybe put an older engine in it, put a V8 in it. They'll do stuff like that with them. They'll not maybe stick with the standard engines as such. It can work.
Standard engines nowadays are shite.
That's your problem. That is your problem.
Logically, for me, the next car, realistically, that you should be going for would be a GT86. But they are the most horrible, hateful sounding things I've ever heard in my entire life.
Aye. They're back to that. That's probably...
And they're dear.
They're dear. That's the problem with them as well. And I can't see them...
No, they're not. They're
probably not going to go down anymore. They're sort of that...
Cars tend to be at their lowest value about 15 years in. And that's what we were seeing with the likes of E36 M3s being about 13 grand in like 2017, 2018. And now they're fucking a fortune, because... So realistically, the first GT86 come out in 2011, 2012. So by 2027, it's probably going to be its cheapest, but it's still not going to be a £1,200 car.
I'd be kind of surprised.
I can't see it going down that low.
In 10 years' time, F30s. There's fucking oodles of them on the road.
Aye.
And no, don't get me wrong, a lot of them are electronic diff and all that, but...
But you're back to that. The same thing is they're going to come under their own. As in, I had considered, and it's still not out the window, is an F31.
Yes,
so an F30
obviously.
An estate.
Obviously.
But you're back to that same thing, getting lock kits, getting that stuff for it. Wisefab now do all your lock kits and your back suspension stuff for them. But then you're in the silly money.
Yeah.
So, to answer your question on a near or in 10 years' time, a chassis, I don't know. As in, it's...
anybody's game.
It's sort of just down to what you can afford or what's at the time.
Because I suppose if you look at automatic gearboxes like the ZFs and that, people are now putting them in chasers and that because cheap man's sequential.
Yeah.
So there's still fuck all cheap about it.
Technically, in a similar way, that I don't know what way an electronic diff works, but they can maybe get them to work in a different way.
Well, the LZ has them. I think is that Polish company. They have a way of switching them, so you can literally just flick a button now.
You can basically wire switch and it gives you a fake neutral.
So
you can clutch kick
the diff. The diff can actually, right. Literally you could get a switch, so you can just flick a switch and the diff's welded.
So I mean, that's probably where it's going to go. Realistically, that's where it's going to go.
But then, well, I suppose with if you look at the growth of drifting, even the last 2 years, I've only really been into it properly 2.5 years or 3 years anyway, or more or less since 2019. You look at a lot of drivers there this year, and whenever they seen the Peggy Nardova, they were like, sort of wish it was there.
Yeah. It's just everything's moving on. It's just things are evolving.
But you talk about you talk about the likes of your Peggy, Nardova, or however you say it, and your Mondellos and all. It was one of my first drift events ever to watch, and it was one of my favourite. I don't think anything can beat a good night at Tyrone. I'm not joking. There's something about Tyrone.
Tyrone is probably one of the best buzzes. Is it because it's in a tight arena? It's everything's in one area. You go to Mondello, even at Jap Fest, there's still a bit of a spread. The car shows down the car park, are down in the paddock. You've all the drift cars around the paddock, and the track's a bit of a walk. So, I suppose at any one time, there's still not 100% capacity watching the drifting. You're always going to have that 10% that's standing around the cars at the car show. They're going for food, they're going wherever. Whereas everything's in Tyrone Oval. Everybody's their cars parked up, everybody's standing along the fence. It's just a brilliant night. Probably
helps slightly too that it's at the end of the year, so all the big names come back, and the fucks to be given probably go out the window.
Yeah.
So if my car breaks now,
I'm putting on a show.
Yes.
Yeah. Last year probably wasn't ideal, but I think he was struggling to get dates. But you take it last year was like the week before Jab Fest or something.
Something like that.
So
It was an odd date. It was earlier than usual.
Aye. So you had a couple of boys you had a handful of boys that wouldn't go because then they were still fighting for a championship and IDC, and they were kind of like, don't know whether to go or not. And then there's a couple of boys that went, and the cars give a bit of baller, so then they just bowed out of competition. So you have that issue where it needs to be, as you say, at the end of the year. It needs to be that 2 weeks after Jab Fest, everybody's championships are
middle
gone.
of November sort of thing.
Aye, and just have it that it's a let rip. Last event of the year, cars are being rebuilt after this anyway. Just go for it.
I remember my first night in Tullyroom was 2016, and I think Duane might have actually won that night as well. But it was class, like, and just even now, still seeing it and seeing the likes of all you boys and all that. But like, it's one of them things where there's still a couple of like names that wouldn't be as big out, and they're getting the chance to drift alongside the likes of Duane or Kevin or even, what do you call him? Oh, why is his name left me? Martin drives the R32.
Richards.
Martin Richards, or Bagsy. Callum Coogan and Bagsy.
Yeah, I know. Like that's you take it. My first year doing what I called was Tully was 2018. So cars only had 2 years. But then I went back in 2019 after I won the championship, literally as it says, maybe 3 weeks before that or whatever. And went to Tully, and who did I battle? I battled Shea McCabe in the top 32. Went on to battle Lee Scott in the top 16. And then I battled Kevin Quinn in the top 8.
At his event.
Well, out of curiosity, obviously Kevin's car's fucking fast. How did you fare compared to?
Well, they run street tires, don't they?
No, that was still semi slicks back then. That was a very, very tight battle. It was one of them damp, wet, greasy nights. And
normally always is.
My car washed. I hadn't had understeer all year, and I flicked in, and the car just understeered up towards the wall. And that was probably the beating there, because I chased Kevin first, and like Kevin himself came up after me going, "What happened to you?" He says, "You had me. There was no reason why you didn't have me beat." Just so that would have been. Still, that was a good event. I qualified high. That was one of them events that I finished like 5th or 6th on. And as you say, that year you had Jack Shanahan, Conor Shanahan, Duane McKeever, Kevin Quinn. You had Mitch Lerner.
Yes, that's right. The Aussie. Thunder from Down Under.
Who else do you have?
Mitch hasn't been back in a long time, also.
No, he never come back in 2017.
Aye. He never come back. He went and remember they did the Cyprus thing and stuff.
Yes,
they did that. No, but that was the year. 2019 was the year that Kevin got like the last round of Drift Masters was in Japfest or in Mondello, and that was like, as I say, it was like a week or 2 weeks before that.
So all the boys left their cars.
Aye. So Kevin talked a few boys in. So there was like, you maybe had like 2 Drift Master drivers there as well, and so like, my God, there was, I don't know, 8, 10 big drivers. Bagsy might have been there that year, possibly. I can't actually mind, but yeah, there was a lot of big names, and there was me stuck in the middle of it with my wee M3.
Here,
Class.
Don't let the imposter syndrome let you. You're every bit entitled to be there.
Tully. Back to Tully. Tully is a great event. It's one of the events that, if I had to rebuild the car for it the week before, I probably would rebuild the car the week before just to go and do it.
I think, to be honest, if I ever got the chance to do competitive drift, and if I ever got around to getting the finger out and getting some built, that Tully and LZ World Tour would be the 2 ones I'd love to do. Not a chance to do another fucking anything, because I wouldn't have any clout for either of them, but if I got the chance.
Just for the atmosphere.
Yes,
it's
100%.
I get the chance to do drift at the docks.
Yes.
And that was class. That was one of them things that'll never happen again. That happened 3 times.
Well, it happened 3 times, and it wasn't supposed to happen after the first.
Aye. But now that'll 100% never happen again. So that was
2018.
That was 2019. I got done it as well.
Oh, did they do it in 2019? I must have done the second one round then.
They did 2017, 2018, and 2019.
I was there 2018.
Aye. And that was like, getting to do that event I thought was unbelievable. And I was, suppose that was my first time getting that was the Extremes, Drift Games Extremes, and I managed to get the top 16, so I got to do the parade. So
and then I was robbed of seeing your top 16 battle.
Huh?
I was robbed of seeing your top 16 battle. Do you mind he took out the media equipment? The fella in the chaser you were chasing?
Is that the red chaser?
No, that wasn't. Or did he? That was Martin Wanacott I had in the top 32. Who was that? Who took
You said that whatever way it hit the wall, I'm
trying to think who that was.
Is that not your boy from Ballymena?
Was it?
The chaser.
Oh, Robin Neeson? No.
I'm near sure you had a chaser in the top 16, but it showed the start of it.
In the top 16 I had Pete Nilsson.
Oh.
So no, but I remember that happening.
Well.
You're right. Someone even into the corner, and whatever way the wires were, whenever he hit the corner, it wiped out everything. It just cut all the wires or something. You're right. I can't mind who that was. You're right. You're right. There was a whole handling. They didn't get any. I think it stopped after the top 16 or something, or halfway through the top 16. I actually got to watch my battle because the screen recorded it.
That actually kind of leads me. So would you say that's probably your favourite drift event you've ever done? Was that last Drift in the Docks?
Probably is.
Or was there any other ones that you?
That year, I suppose that year was a good year. If you want to say top 3 was Drift at the Docks. Got to do the Jap Fest, which was the last round of Drift Masters that year as well.
That's right.
So that was a big weekend. I think I actually managed to qualify 6th in the middle of the pros and the Jap Fest thing. And then the LZ thing. There were 3 massive weekends that were weekends that, as I said, the M3 shouldn't belong, if that makes sense, but it was there in the mix anyway. So.
Well, it shows obviously you can fucking drive if you were there with an M3.
I'm going to assume that was more than just luck if you've had your car in that position and a few. Once or twice I would go, you maybe get lucky. Not that I could do any better.
So now, no pressure, but we're all like, now you're going to have horsepower.
Be nice to see what you can do.
Aye, well, I've spent the money now. I can't
no pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure. No.
Who is? I'm gonna finish with this because we'll move on till the versus challenge. But I suppose to finish off, what is your favourite battle you've ever had, or who is the best driver you've ever been against? If they're the same, or you can answer both differently.
And I have a question after this too.
All right. Okay.
Huh? You're not getting one if I don't get one.
Probably not so much the best battle, but Duane McKeever. I battled Duane McKeever in the top 16 at Jab Fest this year. It wasn't even as much to do with the battle. Top 16 parade, me and him took off Duffin.
That's right. I think I have a video of that.
I had made my weekend. Nothing to do with the battle. The battle was shit. The battle was pure dung. I took off. I laughed. I took off. I said halfway up the straight, and he hadn't even left the cones, and he was leading. I took off in the hope that I would catch him, or the two of us would meet around the start line or around the initiation point, and he still overtook me at about 300 mile an hour more than I was doing.
It's like slow trumpet noises, isn't it?
Yeah. I felt like my car all of a sudden was a 318. It was like, But that battle wise is hard to say. I have a lot of tight battles. The likes of the battle maybe with Jack Shanahan, because two very similar cars, taking them to one more time, and whenever it went to the one more time, they split it by like half a point or something. So again, it probably would have went to an hour one more time, but they couldn't do an hour one more time. Things like that. Battles wise, it's hard to say. I've had a lot of good battles and a lot of tight battles with good drivers. I did actually beat Duane McKeever one night in Nuts Corner.
Oh,
really?
I was in my 328 and he was in his 320D, and it went 2 one more times, or else 3 one more times, and then his car actually sucked in a swirl flap and just did an engine delete.
Oh, how long ago was that?
That was like 2018 or something, or 2018.
Bring back Nuts Corner.
That was the Burgundy 328. Like that was the original. The estate one was a 328.
My question is, so you can't pick an S chassis, but if
I
you
wasn't doing versus challenge.
No, I'm not doing the versus challenge. You dimwit.
All right.
So, no, you can't, because obvious choice. Most people would say, like 180 or whatever, right? But if you had to build an older drift car, and you can't do a BM or an S chassis, what would you go for? Out of curiosity.
That's actually a very good question.
Because obviously
Aye.
everybody's going to say it's chassis because it makes sense,
Aye.
or another BM. But like, if you can't pick either two of them, what is your fancy?
You probably are down to maybe a Toyota, your GT86s,
R32
or 34 is a big. Probably one of my dream cars is an R34, like, but it's a big car. It's a big car, and same thing. Chasers, just they're big
yacht,
yachts. They're just a road yacht. I'm probably going to say between like a GT86 or an actual like A86 maybe.
Oh yeah.
I'm old school. Like I'd like to stick old school. Like so. I don't know. You're probably Toyota. Anyway.
Toyota.
Yeah.
What power plant would you stove into it?
GT86 2J.
Yeah.
A86. You're probably down to. You mind your boy that did Drift Masters in the A86 that had turned out to be like a 2.3 RAV4 engine, petrol RAV4 engine. It was turbo. It was like 600 brake or something.
What?
Yeah. He rooted it off in Germany. He hit the tire bank or a tire wall, and I think just wrote the car clean out.
I thought maybe you were going to say like Chris Brady's old like SR20 one or something.
Oh no, this thing was something makes me think it was a RAV4 engine or something. It was real rare, but your man had like two of them sitting in his trailer because they were like £600. I can't remember who he was telling. It might have been Callum or something. He was telling Callum, but like just the engines. He bought the engine, the spare engine, thinking that the first engine was going to blow up straight away. But he had carried
it was
this
like an
engine.
1990s Toyota engine that'll never blow up. Like.
But he'd like carried this engine this 2 or 3 years and never actually replaced the original engine.
Bet you the one weekend like he forgot to bring it with him.
It's always out there. If you have it, you'll never need it.
Yeah.
But as soon as you forget it, it's oh shit.
So we now move on to the versus challenge then, Michael.
Have you got one?
Not yet.
I have.
Go for it.
Say money was no object, right? So it didn't matter you'd, I don't know, Callum Coogan or someone else listed working to you full time that could happily build engines all day long. Would, if you, for your own drift car, the E36 Mark II, would you still keep the 2JZ? Or if you could, would you run the V10 out of the M5 E60?
That's I'd say V10 to be honest.
I'd be inclined to agree. Can you imagine the sound of that thing?
But the second one would be a V8, 92 V8.
Yes.
I actually nearly had that done.
Seriously?
Very close to getting it done, but found it hard to get a management to actually run it because they're direct injection, and the direct injection plus the coil pack is also the knock sensor.
Right, aye.
So there's like a pile of like bits that you need you can get an ECU to run it, but the ECU was costing me nearly the price of the engine.
Oh, 100%.
So it was a case of it wasn't feasible, if that makes sense. Like I actually got it was like $6,000 for the engine and the manual box and the manifolds, and your man was actually, there was an E92 that was in for braking and it was rode off at the back, and he goes, I'll give you the whole front end, come you some Saturday and the two of us will strip it. And I was like, that's yes, but I just couldn't. It was going to be like $6-7 maybe more to do.
What ECU was it, like a Motec or Savex or?
Savex.
That's officially gassed. Money there you're talking with, you're not officially gassed.
Are they not probably the dearest?
Motec maybe the dearest.
Aye.
Savex would be up there too. But
Aye. I think what thing was the Savex was going to be on rail, and there's a boy in England that runs them, and is the Wildcat. You know the Defenders,
like the Bowler Wildcats.
Aye. There was a boy in England that I can't remember. I got talking to this boy, and he talking to another boy, and then he sent me this boy, and then ended up this boy here. He basically puts them E92 V8s into Wildcat. So he basically went to me, I can sort you out with a loom that'll plug and play, and he says I can even map an ECU that will run you at like 4. He says if you have a good exhaust and good intakes, he says it'll be 460 brake all day long, 470 brake. And I was like, that's good. And he goes, if you want, he says you can go race fuel and bits and balls, but then you'll need to take the car over to him to get mapped. So that's what I was going, that would be unbelievable, because that would have been nearly a 500 horsepower NA V8, the rev the 8,500 going around Mondello, that would have been unbelievable.
That would have sounded glorious, like.
So, aye.
And then you realised the price of the ECU and just went, nah.
Not happening.
We think 2Js are dear till you actually.
Oh, aye. 2J is the way to go now, because they've become available, as in they've become popular enough that there's parts, there's dear parts, there's middling parts, there's cheap parts. So
you can buy new blocks and all that.
The thing is, you can still buy a 300 GE, non-turbo, but realistically, when you're going for big horsepower, you're going to be putting a new set of pistons and rods.
Anyway, fully forged if you want to.
And the reality is,
need the different block too, for it's not strong enough. The 300 block.
No,
it's just pistons and rods.
They're actually the same block. They don't have oil squirters.
Oh,
the block and cranks are identical, and turbo engines and non-turbo engines bar oil squirters. So yeah, as Michael was saying, like, it's literally, you can take your GE engine, put forged pistons and rods on it, and you can make big power with it.
And the NA heads flow better because they're bigger.
Any head can make up to, I think, 700 brake or nearly 700 brake on the standard cams if you do valve springs.
Because we have a mate there, and he is a chaser, and that's a 1.5 JZ, so it's a 3 litre bottom end.
Aye, and the ones ahead.
What kills that car is the ports.
Aye.
What kills it? And like I say, what kills it? It's 630 horsepower and 670 foot-pound of torque.
Aye.
It is not a slow car.
It's not a slow car,
but
like, if it had the head work done, it's probably 700 plus.
That's had head work. It's got a set of 272 cams. No, like it is.
But the
maxed out.
But the porting's
it lets it down. They don't flow well.
No, that's. I think. This was going back a few years ago, but I think Richard Bradley built two identical engines. Difference was one started life as a turbo engine and one started life as an NA engine, and the NA engine made like nearly 100 horsepower more just because of the head. The two engines were spec'd, I think, identical. Same turbos, same manifold, same everything, but they are.
It's just a shame about the squirters, like.
But
you can work around that.
It's not really. Then if you're maybe doing miles, yes, but for a drift car, then it's sort of that you're on and off. You're not really.
Just a big enough oil cooler. You'll be alright.
Yeah.
My versus challenge for you, Stephen, is. So, say for instance, you go to Drift Games Invitational, right? And you're having a conversation in the paddock with James and Duane, and they're both like, "Right, lad, take one of the car keys and go for a lap in either Duane's car or the S14.9, James's car. What one would you take for a drive?"
That's actually a very tough question.
That's a very good question.
I
know which one I'd take.
I nearly have to say Duane's car.
Same. Yep. For the Bradley mode, that laminate.
Just for the absolute revving to the moon.
The gunshots.
That's like I would say that's like a 6-4, like that's like a 6 towards Duane and 4 towards what I call, like it is the S14 0.9 would be unbelievable to drive. I have to say it looks like one of the most probably best setup cars out there.
That's what I was going to say. You nearly want to drive it just to see how does it drive.
But as for Duane's car, Duane's car's fast. Duane's car. Duane's car. Just Duane's.
Like, I'd love to know how because obviously James in that round of Drift Masters, like Duane took him out. I'd love to know, because as Deane said, I've literally done everything I can and I still can't catch him. I'd love to know what's actually done or what way Duane works it to be so fast.
A heavy right foot, no fear.
Is it just commitment?
Probably
Balls.
is. Duane's
stupidity.
I'd say. Car and setup, but Duane's come out. Duane's just.
He just
11 out of 10 everywhere, anytime.
He's going to go over the hill of Mondello flat. He's going over that, whether you're in front of him or not. If you're not going fast enough, you're getting pushed.
If you want to use this as a TikTok, right?
Okay.
Right? Because I took a screen recording of Jimmy Oakes chatting before the last round of Drift Masters on, I think it was either Drift Masters Instagram story or Drift Games, and it's just him saying, "Do you ever actually watch the way Duane drives? He doesn't drive with, he drives with the clutch.
Yeah.
It's just going round, like never lifting. So yeah, like that's.
Oh, it's just full flat.
Yeah.
Aye. But we had this conversation in Scotland as well. That can be, people think that's sore in a car.
No.
But if you're doing it right, if you're not being
ill-bred
about it, the worst thing you'll nearly do is let a car bug. So if you let a car die down and then give her a big lift to the clutch, or 2 or 3 lifts to the clutch, that's when things can go wrong.
That's what happened to my Altezza. Everyone said I was drifting my Altezza wrong because I was clutch kicking her and clutch banging her, but I was just lamming her all the time. And I remember them were like, no, try and drive her more in the throttle, but the Altezza has the VVTA.
No, the turban.
See when you fall off like
Yeah.
5,500, they're nothing.
Yeah.
Like she's just dead. And I remember that I was trying to drive her like normally, the way everybody else was driving, and I couldn't get her. And as you said, give her that one big kick, and the next thing I just 6 neutrals.
Yep. Oh, 100%. Aye. It's if you're on the power and clutch kicking, it's dead on.
Yep.
If you come off the power and you try to bring her back up, or you're doing something funny, it's just I suppose it's that stop start thing. You've dropped your wheel speed away there, and then you give it a big kick to get her back up again. It's that's when you break stuff. As you say, you end up with 6 neutrals or a clunky something.
Yes.
It's just like bam, 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 bang. Shit. And the next thing the car's just rolling and you're ringing Sean McNamee just going, here, boy. Do you still have the Defender? Or not the Defender, do you still have the Discovery? Aye. Can you get Bill's chiller for me? Kiosk pushing, 6 of us trying to push the Altezza onto the chiller because it didn't have a winch.
So have you any big old skids or one wheel pills, Michael?
I do actually have a few ones writing to me asking me to include stuff in.
To be fair, that's all I have. I don't actually have a big old skid or one wheel pill this week. So
Well, I'm still waiting on a couple of ones to get back to me with stuff, so I have to probably leave that to the next one unless I'm going to cut this. Nope, he hasn't.
I
got
am
back.
dying for a piss.
Go on, piss it. I'll edit this.
No, you're all right. I'll howl in, but
He hasn't got back.
I will need to burst the banks whatever this is. What time are we on anyway?
Like 1:49. So we'll get through
Fucking
this.
11:30. Do you have a early start in the morning?
I
Not
do.
really, no.
That's all right.
It's not too bad.
What do you call an early start?
Like 7 o'clock. Just.
I assume, well,
Aye,
4 to 7.
We'll live.
First one I have here is, you might like this one. Reese McElhenney wrote to me on TikTok there. Rear wheel drive Toyota Vitz. Do you know what a Toyota Vitz is?
I do.
Yeah.
It's a Yaris.
Yeah, so I started life as a 4x4 Yaris. And then they obviously just took the front shafts out and put reinforced rear shafts in. And they just dogged the fucking life out of it. It's class.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was one of my big old skids. Tasty&Gobshite are starting a cult about us.
And you have a big head.
So
They have photoshopped him with a much larger head than I
they
have.
photoshopped me onto Jesus. The Sacred Heart. So Tasty&Gobshite, to give you some context, are podcasts from the south doing kind of similar things, and I've been helping set them up. They had Champ Fitz in one of their last podcasts. They have a few boys from Cork and Kerry going on, so kind of our equivalent in the south. We talk more tractors, they'll probably talk more trucks, but anyway, but I suppose us being
They're IS200 heads.
us being, I suppose, the first to kind of do that thing, they're making a joke about us because they're good old crack, like they're making a joke that we're the leader of their cult. So
Yes.
I thought that
We
was
did
quite
come up
funny.
with their disclaimer.
Jonathan Krath. Jonathan Krath sent me a picture and goes, "You need to put this in the podcast." It's the farmers protest in France. There's like a picture of all the bales in the road, and you just see the Eiffel Tower in the background.
Or what about them sowing barley?
I seen that on the motorway.
In the motorway?
Yes, that's brilliant.
Fair play to them.
Yeah.
Fair play to them. Hey, you know a fella, Chris Hayes?
Hayes Motorsport.
Yes.
He added me on Facebook a while back, and so
Right.
well, I don't know him, but I know
You
him.
know, like there's certain Rovers where like share a chassis with Hondas. Did you know this?
Well, to be fair, I thought they were just a Rover.
Yeah,
and
they have
then
they have
realised-
the same D16 engine.
Oh,
As far as I'm aware, it's a D16 or a D15 or maybe a D15. So like a Rover 45
Right.
shares like the same as like.
Do you not ever see them at basically like a,
They're like a
the
Civic.
Rover saloon, but they went round Honda badges?
All right. Yeah.
Well, he's putting an Integra engine in, so a B18 in their Rover. It's fucking class.
Different, like I used to be like.
Apparently he's got a lot of shit for it. I goes, how do people like it? And he goes, as much as boys like you putting a Saab engine in your Ford. And I went, oh.
The only car that I actually would never have appreciated until recently was a Corolla T-Sport.
I like the older ones again.
They were like, oh, we will bring out a Type R, equivalent.
Competitors.
And it never really
took
It was
off.
a 1600.
1800.
1800.
I think it's just because they didn't have a mad limiter.
Aye, true.
Type
yeah.
R had so much ASBO about it. Like the Corolla was more refined. And I think it was probably a taller car.
I like the look at them, like with the wee spoilers. Not the three-door wasn't a bad looking car.
I suppose what the words was, they're just a very average car, but then they went, let's make a sporty one.
Yes.
There's just that, the family car, but
no, your granny's car.
Aye, yeah, your granny's car, yeah.
Then Lucas Black messaged me in Snapchat the other day, said, yep, been listening to you from the start. Keep up the good work. Appreciate it. And I goes, oh, that's nice words.
I was about to say, is he the guy from...
Yeah, same name. Same name. No, this fella's ginger. Kind of looks like me, actually.
On the theme of...
Fair play to him. No, he sent me a video on Snapchat. I was like, here, look, just let you know, listen to it all. It's good old crack.
So, on Instagram, they're Dirty Dervs.
Right? Yes.
So they wrote it. So basically, beforehand, I gave him a versus, and it was essentially, would you rather have like Need for Speed Default, like a game, or would you rather have like Farm Simulator Mid Ulster Edition?
Very good podcast.
They were like, well, instead of that, instead of like Need for Speed, why not Buckfast and the Elk?
I don't know what the theme song would be for that yet. I feel like it has to be like something like DJ Cammy or something like that.
That's what I was thinking.
DJ Bad Boy.
King of the Cone.
Fucking Bad Boy here.
No, not King of the Cone.
Country.
No, I can't even think of one.
Did you get the message from the MX5 boys? Did you see any of them?
No.
There's like a group of boys that, what is it they're doing? It's like auto test days. Not auto test, but it's like auto track, not Conor.
Right.
MX5 parts NI have asked us to come along and see their MX5 and have a go. So we've invited to go and have a go in an MX5.
You'll enjoy it.
I will. I'm just scared in case I blow something up. St. Patrick's Day, I think it is. Have asked if I want to do something.
I'm probably free, to be fair. All going well.
Would you recommend it?
Yes. I had an MX5 for doing the targets.
That's right, you were telling us.
I only did do a couple of targets on it, but
they're a deadly wee car.
Oh, unbelievable crack. Wouldn't be seen in one.
One of the lads I work with, Jordan Moore, has an MX5, a Mark 1. Him and his mate has another red Mark 1. And they're forever, like, they're not highly powered cars. Him and his mate just go out on Saturday nights and just find random spots and close the road off. And,
yes, private road. That's the one they hired.
Go to the parades commission and get the road closed and all. Like he shows me videos of him and his mate just out like these closed back roads. One just pushing the other out the road, like deadly fun. Like
because one's broke down, and then he's pushing the other one. Yeah.
He gets it.
I know they're a very good car. Like first time I bought this one with like clutch slipping and there was pile of things wrong with it, so I couldn't actually drive it. First steering pump or something was away, so I never actually got driving the car until I fixed the car. And I fixed the car in the first drive down a real bad bumpy road, and I was like, is it any wonder these things are like unbeatable at the target rallies? You know, they are out of the box. This thing was fairly basic suspension wise, but it had sump guards and diff guards and all that already on it. But great. They're a go-kart. They're a big go-kart.
What do you think of the MR2? A lot of boys are on the Mark 3 MR2 as well for the lane trials.
They have got popular
because boys are putting slick engines into them.
Yeah, that's
the 2.2
190
190
190 brake.
Yeah, I think that's the cheat code to the MR2 there.
And then my boss used to do lane trials. He had an MX5, and then he went till he was saying like it's getting to the stage like there's boys putting like ECUs and stuff.
To be fair, actually, MR2s Mark 3. That's the one like you get mad Vilsay kits for big air ducts and all that. And funny, in one of the MOG battles, officially gassed, there was a K20 turboed one went up against something I can't mind what it was now, and it was fucking quick.
Staff techs putting 1.8 turbos on them from the VWs as well.
They're not like it didn't even have an LSD, and like it was 450, 500 brake, and an unopened K20.
That'd be terrifying.
Oh, like
And a cornflake box.
yeah, it was quick.
What else have I got? Andy Casso, TikTok, super field drifting. So just taking your Supra out in the field to go drifting. People don't do that anymore.
Sure, what would be wrong with?
Nothing.
I think it'd be dead on. James Deane learned to drift in a silage field.
You would be like,
My problem is my car's too low to get into fields now.
I remember
we all have that problem.
I remember taking that Hez out into the silage field. It was the best crack ever.
Yes, and then he hit the sun, and then he was like, "Oh fuck, I think I've done a radiator pipe."
Oh, no, this was the time before that.
Oh,
And then were you with me or was Kraft with me? And then I took the P100 out in the silage field.
I don't know.
She, like, open diff, 1.8, 60 horsepower, dead doesn't even describe.
There's surprising amount of grip on a field.
Not in a silage field, it's just literally been cut. It's literally, you could run and slide in your knees and you go for ages, like it is.
Well, maybe give it a week or two. But it's, I've been around a field in the car going, you're carrying speed.
Oh,
You've been going, you know.
I was in the P100 trying to give it all it would go.
Was it decked at the stage?
Oh, aye.
God help the exhaust. I mean, the exhaust was the lowest point in that car.
Like,
it hit the road.
But like,
so you can imagine
Sierra,
it being like, fuck.
Sierra with the open diff 2 litre twin cam, 120 horsepower, go across the silage field, slide it all day long, no bother. But the P100, I tried. It must have been Kraft was on there, or maybe Conor Kelly. I thought it was maybe you.
No.
I kicked and I kicked and I kicked and I tried and I tried and I tried managing and I tried fishing her and I tried everything and she would not go. I was like, you bastard. you could probably do it if you got on it, but no.
There's everything is a limit.
No.
Yes.
Everything is a limit.
Well, apparently if you go at them, they're a Lucas pump, so if you go at them with an Allen key, you maybe open her out a wee bit. But then
65 horse.
Maybe 68.
Maybe.
She maybe take on my 1.427.
How big's the turbo?
It's not even worth talking about. Like, it is tiny.
Is it like turbo with a snail?
It's like, I know a fella put a TD04 on it and put a bigger elements in the fuel pump and put a front end intercooler on it and blew 4 engines. They just do not take power. Like,
There must be like a turbo the size of the keyring.
fuck, that's been generous. The key rings, like, they're not even intercooled. Straight out of the turbo and straight in, like, it is. They are.
Sure, just blowing fucking warm air. Well, I suppose.
They are.
If you put a front mount
dead.
onto the standard turbo, maybe you get
That's what I was thinking of doing. Is making
2
up,
horsepower.
that's what I was thinking of doing, was making up a plate and doing that. Because I have a front mount and all there sitting, but the only thing is, then people would look at it and go, "Fuck, there's a front mount in that thing. That thing must be fast." And then
he'd spend 2 hours saying, "No, I just said it 2 front mount, the standard turbo."
Yes.
And then he would profess and say it's painted shite and it's
But
this,
sure,
it's that.
as long as the front mount was connected and not just mounted to the bumper.
Jesus, there's a lot of boys in Mark 4s used to do that back in the day.
Yes.
What?
Just put a front mount on.
Shit,
It was
front
just
mount.
there. It was there for the looks.
Used to be a
Remember,
silver Mark 4 that floated around Marfelt years ago. Whenever I was, pardon me, lapping about, and you just started lapping about, there was a silver Mark 4, and the front mount wasn't connected. I guess. Adrian.
Fake it till you make it.
That's it.
Adrian McAllister sent me a video there of a dump trailer, convert it to a size trailer. So it's like literally a dump trailer and they just put massive like silage sides on it. I get it. It's cool. They also are horrible looking.
I need to see that.
I'll show you it after. And then finally, Ryan Turner at 7S 190.
That he is a tidy fleet of stuff.
I know, I like them alright till I post other things saying school is as useless as New Holland.
Well, they are useless.
No, I took a
Fords
bit
are
of
better.
offence and decided I didn't like them anymore. Actually, to be fair, it's a deadly tidy fleet of stuff.
He does.
It's tidy, like, so fair play. That's me done. I just kind of took over that whole thing. Do you have anything else?
I have nothing else to add. So, guys, I don't know how long this is, but hopefully,
Well, I can tell you now
now
how long it is. It is 2 hours and 1 minute, but there's probably like. Actually, there's not that much editing needed to be done this one.
No, you will have an easy life this time. So, guys, thanks very much for listening. If you have listened this length of time, you'll know Stephen Halferty now, brave and well. Make sure and support him. Follow Stephen on all his socials.
What are all your socials anyway? Yours, body Sam.
Let me see now. Facebook's just Stephen Halferty Drifting. Instagram is shalferty_117.
Yeah.
TikTok's Stephen Halferty as well, 117.
And do you still have it? You can see you're wearing your merch there. Do you have any of it coming up?
I'm hopefully putting in a new order now in the next month or so. So
can you send me across details? I'm going to order something.
Yeah. No more.
On me.
Okay. Right. Big sale.
Big sale on.
Big sale on.
What's yours?
I'm Conor.McGoo on all socials, and Michael, you are?
I'm at Michael Scullin _ on everything. I forgot my own stuff
So,
too. I'm fucking tired.
If you're watching us on YouTube and your big telly or your wee phone, make sure.
What about your big phone or your wee telly?
Fuck up, was you? Anyway,
What about
if you're watching us, regardless of what you're watching us on, make sure and hopefully you'll hit the subscribe button and you'll like the video and
What's
you'll
the thing
continue
you
to
say
watch
about
us
the bell?
and hit the bell notification.
Hit the bell notification. That's what
so
you keep
you'll know our fortnightly uploads. You know, and if you're listening to us on Spotify and you can't see a fucking thing, well, fair play to you, and hopefully you can listen to the next one.
We've made your journey a little bit nicer.
And don't be feared to leave us, an answer to the questions, which we only realised
We
were
only
a thing
realised
not
2
that
or
long
3
ago.
weeks ago that people can leave comments on Spotify.
Yeah, we're
So
like,
we were
people
reading,
liked episode 2.
We were reading through like comments from like episode 2, and people were commenting. We were like, we have literally been ignoring these people for the last year. So we didn't realise, and it was like, shit.
Words cannot describe our stupidity.
Well, there is. Begins with R, but you're not allowed to say those words anymore.
Yes. Anyway, so enough digressing. So anyway, thanks everyone.
Follow it at Limited Slip Differences, by the way, because
for
Conor
fuck's
never even fucking said.
Yes, that too.
And on that note,
It's time to end. Right, Michael, go for it.
best of luck.
Thank you for listening.